Hello friends, welcome to video number 61 in the Fundamentals for Following series. Today we're going to continue in chapter 9. It's called Lead a Believable Life, and today we're going to be talking about Joseph and his integrity. So leading a believable life is all about having integrity. So that's the main point that we're trying to get across today. And if you would, just take a second to like and share this video so that everyone that can hear the Word of God that needs to. You know, I'd like to just take a moment here and talk about where the idea for this chapter, Lead a Believable Life, came from. It came from a friend of mine, John Faulkner, who was interning at Bridges Christian Church a few years ago, and he led a morning Bible study for a while he was there that summer as he was finishing up his schooling at Kentucky Christian University. I think John was originally from Florida, and he was up in this area to go to Bible college, and he returned to Florida after he ministered here for a while, but he did lead this study called Lead a Believable Life, so it ended up being influential on me, and it ended up being a chapter in this book. So today we're just going to talk about Joseph's integrity, and we'll start reading out of the book. And it says, when I think about integrity, I think about a man in the Bible named Joseph. Joseph was the son of Jacob, who the patriarch of the 12 tribes of Israel, who God later renamed Israel. So Jacob became known as Israel. The story of Joseph's life is so important that over 25% of the book of Genesis is devoted to him and how God worked through him to establish the nation of Israel. So this is the very root, going back to the very root of Israel here. So the story of Joseph can be found in Genesis chapter 37 through 50 if you want to read them for yourself, and it's really good reading for the Bible. It gives you a firm foundation of how the nation of Israel developed. So in Moses' account of Joseph, we learn that Jacob treated Joseph better, his father Jacob treated Joseph better than any of his other 11 sons. Because he favored them over his brothers, they despised him, and selling him into slavery in Egypt and even faking his death. He ended up being sold to the captain of the guard, his name was Potiphar, who was a very powerful man in Egypt. God gave him success in everything he did, so Joseph gained the trust of Potiphar, and he was put in charge of his entire household. Now, Joseph was a very well-built and handsome young man, and Potiphar's wife took notice of him. She repeatedly tried to seduce him, but Joseph was true to himself and his master, refusing her continual advances until he finally had to run out of the house to flee the temptation to sin. Potiphar's wife then lied about Joseph, saying that he had tried to rape her. And because of her story, Potiphar had Joseph thrown into prison. But you know what? God wasn't through with Joseph. The Lord caused the prison warden to put him in charge of all the prisoners and all that was done there. The Pharaoh's chief butler and chief baker were also confined to the same prison because they had offended the Pharaoh. Joseph was able to correctly interpret the strange dreams that both of them had. The butler was released from prison and restored to his former position, just as Joseph had interpreted from his account of the butler's dream. And 2 years later, Pharaoh also had a strange dream that no one could interpret. And the chief butler then remembered how Joseph had interpreted his dream in prison. So Joseph was brought before Pharaoh. Now, here's where Joseph's integrity starts, giving full credit to God. Joseph was able to correctly interpret Pharaoh's dream. Because this inspired prophecy of 7 years of prosperity followed by 7 years of terrible famine greatly impressed Pharaoh. At just 30 years of age, Joseph was made second command in all of Egypt. During the predicted 7 years of plenty, Joseph wisely stored an abundance of grain in preparation of the coming famine. When the famine became severe throughout the region, 10 of Joseph's brothers come from Canaan to Egypt to buy grain, leaving Benjamin at home in keeping with Jacob's wishes. When they attempted to buy grain, Joseph recognized them and formulated a plan to bring the entire family to Egypt to be reunited with him. Even though his brothers had sold him into slavery, he did not retaliate, but instead reunited and cared for his family. You know, a person with integrity always tells the truth. And a person with integrity takes care of their family. A person with integrity doesn't succumb to sexual temptation. A person with integrity will not retaliate when that's the easy thing to do. A person with integrity will not take advantage of a position of authority for their own benefit. Do you see all that in the story we just read? It's there. You know, Joseph did all that. He was a true man of integrity. He lived his life forgetting and forgiving when wrong, and serving his God and leading his nation with integrity. His story is a great example of leading a believable life. You know, people could look at Joseph and know when he said he belonged to God that he truly did. So we're going to, over the next 3 or 4 days, we're going to ask some questions, and we'll just reflect about them every day. They'll be shorter than today, and we'll have a series of questions, and then we'll have some self-examination, and then finally we'll end up asking ourselves and answering the question, or am I leading a believable life for Jesus Christ? So keep watching over the next few days, and like I say, the videos will be a little shorter, and they'll just be focused on one question each day, and we'll just kind of gauge where we stand on our walk with Jesus. So hope you can come back and join us as we continue on in chapter 9, and have a blessed day. See you soon, guys.